It's the Behind the Shade show.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Behind the Shades. It's your host, Terraine, and we're going to talk about Claudia Jordan. Claudia has decided to drop some wisdom from the heavens to the young ladies out there. So let's listen what she has to say.
You think that when you're ready to settle down, that there's always going to be a lot of supply on the shelves, and it's not. Like at this age, a lot of the good guys are married or taken because they're good guys. And I was having a conversation with a girlfriend of mine the other day, and I'm like, well, your best bet now is maybe someone that a good man that maybe is coming out of a marriage, getting a divorce. So.
So there's a lot there to unpack, right? So she's saying that a lot of good guys are already taken. A lot of the men that are still available may have been divorced. They may have children. They may not have either. They're still available, but she made it a criteria to say that a lot of the good guys already taken. There's this sweet spot when it comes to dating and obtaining a serious relationship in general. As you get through your 20s, you want to say from about your late 20s to about your mid 30s. That's where many people get married. That's where many people find the type of relationship that they want. What has happened in society, though, in many cultures, within many communities, in many groups, we have pushed back adulthood. What do I mean? Well, in many places it's 18, 19, 20, and 21. And then you spend a number of years finishing up school. And then when you get out in the workforce, you're in your mid 20s. At this point, you should understand what you want in life. At this point, you should want to determine if you want a relationship or not. But because we push back the timeline to late 20s, early 30s, there's a decade of us doing what? Friends with benefits, racking up body count, doing things that isn't conducive to what we want in the long term, but making us feel very good temporarily. But let's listen to what else she has to say.
I think in our youth, and I would like people to know this when they're younger, we think, oh, there's always going to be an endless supply. I can wait till tomorrow. Don't put off your happiness waiting. If you find that good person, like a lot of times we wait, well, it's not the right time. It's never going to be like the right time. I would say go for it more. I wish I would have someone told me just go for it. I probably have overlooked a good candidate before.
Why is that though?
Me thinking the timing thing, maybe prioritizing career. I definitely was always like work, 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 work. I never thought I had like the enough cushion built up to like relax and take my foot off the gas and start a family.
Too many people wait for the stars to align, for God to come down and say, I bestow him or her upon thee. It doesn't work that way. What works out is you understanding what is it that you want, what is it that you have to offer, and how can those both come together to form a healthy, long-lasting relationship. Too many people go with the 10% in the 90-10 rule. What does that look like? This person has 9 out of the 10 things that I want out of a partner, but that one thing I'm going to focus on because that one thing Tyrone down the street has. That one thing Camilla down the street has. Whereas the person in front of you has 9 out of the 10 things. This isn't a fact of the grass is greener on the other side. This is a fact is why you looking over the fence to see if the grass is greener on the other side. In our youth, we're going to make many mistakes because that's how we learn. But in our youth is where we have to identify what we want and what we don't want. And it goes back to my earlier point, how we push back the maturity meter, how we push back our adulthood. We want to live in adolescence for as long as possible because we think being young forever is attached to a number. It's how you feel, not necessarily your age. You want to be young at heart while still growing as an adult. It is very immature to think that you're better than someone that's going to treat you properly the majority of the time. It's progression over perfection. So, what can we learn from Claudia Jordan's example? First and foremost, is that before the age of 30, the person that was likely right for you was right in front of you. The person that could have made you happy and you could have grown to love has already come across your playing field. You just didn't see that person for who they are, for what they could be. That means that either your perspective was out of alignment or your lens wasn't clear enough. And that is part of the problem. Because what we find now is when we enter our 40s, we know exactly what we want because we spent so many years recovering from what we don't want. So the life lesson from Claudia Jordan, many men and women like her, is this. Be aware of what you have to offer. Be aware of what the other person can offer you. But more importantly, be aware that time isn't on your side and you don't have forever to fool around.